Should Victor Wembanyama be Defensive Player of the Year? Shaq said it best. Oh, yes. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. And inside the NBA last night, they had a conversation about Wemby being Defensive Player of the Year. We're going to show a couple clips from that episode in just a few moments. I want to give my 2 cents on the subject, have a few other things I'd like to go over. But while I'm doing so, a lot of people feel, especially Spurs fans, that Victor Wembanyama is going to be the Rookie of the Year. Should he also be Defensive Player of the Year? Let me know down below. Hit the thumbs down to support the channel and subscribe to become part of our awesome Spurs and sports community. Let's get into the first clip from inside the NBA.
Victor Wembanyama leads the NBA in 3.6 blocks per game, and he has had 43 3-plus blocks. Now to your question, Candace Parker, the discussion. Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, we are going to pause on this screen for a moment. Yes, the big thing that's glaring on there that goes against Wemby is the defensive rating for the team. We'll touch on that in a few moments, but look at the other 3 stats. Steals, Wemby's doubling them up, 1.2 to 0.6. 1.5 more blocks per game. Wemby's leading the league in blocks in the NBA, and also over 1 more deflection per game. So on an individual basis, Wemby is crushing Rudy Gobert, but on a team basis, Rudy is crushing Wemby. So let's get into the second clip from inside the NBA.
Defensive Player of the Year, him as a single individual Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year.
The answer is hell yes, but you guys...
Hell yes.
Yes, as a single individual, but...
He's a Defensive Player of the Year, someone that is the anchor of the best defense, or someone that whenever people come in the lane, they can't even get a shot off.
Someone that is a stopper, and other guys have really hard difficulty scoring.
So you're talking to Wembanyama?
Wembanyama.
And that's where we're going to see the debate on the team defense versus the individual defense. The Spurs last year defensive rating as a team was 119.6. Worst in the NBA. Dead last. I checked NBA.com this morning, which should include last night's game, and they have them at 115.9, which is 22nd in the NBA. Not a huge jump, but 8 spots is a significant jump, and that improvement is pretty much all due to the defense of Victor Wembanyama. With all due respect to their Spurs players, but players like Malaki Branham, one of the worst defenders in the league. Keldon, I love Keldon off the bench. Very inconsistent, not a good defender. Zach Collins, not a good defender, and the list goes on. The Spurs were a very, very, very poor defensive team before Wemby got there. And they're still a bad defensive team, but nowhere near what they were. Wemby's doing what he's supposed to do. He's causing block shots. He's causing players to actually turn around in the paint and head out. We saw it last night. There were 2 players, a 2-on-1. I don't remember who the heck it was because the Grizzlies are without, everybody, heading towards Wemby, and they stopped. He was right there in the paint, okay, fast break, what are you going to do? And he held up because they didn't want to take it right at him knowing what would happen. The ball would be sent right back in their face. A couple other things I want to talk about and show here. This is an interesting, and there's a lot of memes about this with Rudy Gobert versus Wemby. Rudy Gobert's total blocks last 2 seasons in almost 4,600 minutes played, and I saw this posted on Twitter this morning, so this should be recent. He's got 246 blocks. Wemby has almost the same amount in 1 season in half the minutes. Less than half the minutes. What Wemby's doing is absolutely incredible. The fact that he's a rookie and the fact that his team's overall defense is bad should not work against him because this is an individual award, not a team award. And I understand on that show that I watched the whole clip, they started talking about, should a defensive player year be the defensive player of the year on a bad defensive team? This is not the MVP. This is not a player going out averaging a triple-double. Russell Westbrook, great example. Somebody averaging 35 points per game, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and their team doesn't make the playoffs. That's not what this award about. It's an individual best defensive player award. And for this season, it's Victor Wembanyama, in my opinion. Sure, I might be biased as a Spurs fan, but I showed the stats earlier, except for the team defensive rating, not a team award. He's beating Rudy everywhere. Rudy's on a better team. He just is. The Timberwolves are a much better defensive team. And yes, he's a big part of that. I'm not going to take credit away from him. He's a big reason they have a great defense. But he also has good defenders around him. Wemby has... Coyote's probably the best defender outside of Wemby. And I'll close up with this because why not? And I agree with Wemby here. Quote, "It would be deserved. Let him win it now because after that, it's no longer his turn." Unquote. Victor Wembanyama on Rudy Gobert winning the Defensive Player of the Year this year. He's right. I absolutely agree. Watching every Spurs game this year, I've only missed actually visually watching, missed a 2 Nets game because they're blacked out in my area, but I've watched every other game and just what he can do as a rookie. just the way he changes the game for the opposing team. Wait till we get some legit defenders around Wemby. This Spurs team will be a top 5 defensive team in no time. Maybe back to number 1. Who the heck knows? But the sky is the limit. And let me just say this. I 100% agree with Shaq that Wemby is the Defensive Player of the Year and also the Rookie of the Year. Will he get it? Time will tell. I think he'll get at least one. Maybe both. I'll be live tonight for the Spurs versus OKC at 8 o'clock. It's the final match, final 2-man enter, 1-man leave, whatever one you call it. Chet Holmgren versus Victor Wembanyama. It's been a treat to watch these two go at it. Generally feel like there's a real rivalry between the two and hope to see them just both tear up the court tonight and have huge games. So hope to see you tonight in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in. And as always, go Spurs, go.
Ready to Wemby.